Okay, you guys, I had a story for you guys this morning, and I wasn't certain if the woman on Facebook was the same woman in the mugshot, even though I'm willing to put 99.9% that it is. But I only was a little bit skeptical because about a week and a half or so, I can't remember the woman's name now, but she was heading in the news out of Texas. And one was a squatter, and one was unfortunately murdered by her boyfriend. And it was the same name. And a news story actually posted the squatter as the woman that was deceased. And it was weird because around the same time, I was like, wait a minute. This is the wrong woman. Somebody actually put in my comments it was the wrong woman. So I ended up, redoing the video, no problem. But I wanted to make sure that it was the correct person that I was talking about. So if you go on Clarissa Stewart, if her page is still up, out of Albany, Texas, if you go on her page, I would like to know if that's the real woman that's in this mugshot. Her nose is slightly different, but it looks like the same person to me. But anywho, let me just get on with the story right quick. Okay, so Clarissa Stewart has a 2-month-old daughter, and she would bring her daughter to Hendricks Medical Plaza. She said that her little girl was, quote, twitching and acting not right, unquote. So at first they was thinking it was a non-accidental situation. However, the baby was then taken to Cook's Children's Hospital in Fort Worth, Texas. The baby had multiple bruises on her eye. I think they said on her torso, bruises that just were unaccounted for. Her parents didn't know why these bruises was on her. So on November 15th, CPS was notified, contacted by the police. That's when Clarissa Stewart would say that her 18-month-old sister was the one that did this to the 2-month-old. And slightly off topic, well, not really, but if you go on that Facebook page, there is a daughter there that is probably the same age as a sister. I really do think that this is the woman. I really do. So Clarissa said that her daughter did this to the baby. However, they knew that an 18-month-old little girl couldn't have done this type of damage to this 2-month-old girl. That's when Clarissa did admit to shaking her 3 times. She actually did it on a doll. She shook a doll 3 times, how she shook her daughter. And then she slammed her daughter on the changing table. Now that's what she confessed to the investigators. They did look through her phone, and she Googled stuff around that time like the symptoms of shaking baby syndrome, and why is my baby sleeping so long, and why is my 2-month-old shaking. So she was Googling stuff around this time after she, did this to her daughter. She was trying to Google, I guess, and see what else was going on, because that's pretty much what they do. So they knew that she was behind the fact that her daughter was in the hospital or whatever. They also saw messages around October 31st. They saw messages of Clarissa sending it to her husband, and she was saying stuff just, I don't want her. I don't love her. She was saying things like, can we put her up for adoption? She actually said that she did not want to breastfeed her daughter anymore because she didn't want to connect with her daughter. She wanted no connection to her daughter. Now, the situation had got so bad that they actually have to give this little girl a feeding tube now because she failed. she failed a swallow study that they have there. So this little baby, only 2 months old, has to have a feeding tube for whatever else Clarissa Stewart had did to her. She also says that the baby was crying from 7 a.m. to 2 a.m. and she just couldn't stand it anymore. Every time her daughter cries, it just does something to her. She just can't take it anymore. She can't take it anymore. The little girl was seizing. She actually had a few seizures, between 6 or 7 seizures. So whatever Clarissa did to this baby girl, it was a lot to make this child seizing and to also make her now have to have a feeding tube. She just doesn't want this child anymore. And a lot of people were saying it's probably what do you call that? Postpartum depression. They believe it could possibly be that. And I have no words about that. I only had one pregnancy. I never experienced that. Somebody that I knew told me that they had it. And I asked them, I said, well, what was it like? And she said, I just didn't want to look at my daughter. She never said that she wanted to harm her daughter or hurt her daughter. She said she just didn't want to look at her. She didn't want to have any dealings with her child. And luckily, she had a good family support system, because she also told that to them, probably and a lot more, to where they had took the baby, and the woman that I'm talking about, she went to actually see somebody, and she did not get her daughter back until her daughter was 3. And now that same 3-year-old that I'm talking about, she's probably in her late 20s now. So it seemed that everything worked out okay for that situation. And of course, I'm not defending Clarissa Stewart. They just said that she might have it. That's what it sounded like. But who knows? Because we also know that evil mothers do this too to their children. So we don't know if it's postpartum depression or not. But it's a shame. And yeah, Clarissa Stewart out of Abilene, Texas. And I do really think that that is the woman. And if it is, shame on you. Shame on you. It's terrible. I hope you never see this child again. Hope they take this baby. I hope she overcomes whatever situation that you try to do to her in her 2 months of living. And I hope you never see her. And if this is the woman that's smiling in all the pictures with her husband, get your other daughter. Get the hell on with her. Because this woman, something's not right there. Something is not right there. And I believe I pretty much covered everything. I'm at work, but I wanted to get this story out earlier today. But that's pretty much the gist of it. She attacked her child because she was crying a lot, to the point where now the child was seizing, to the point where the husband knew something, because she told him, I don't want her. I don't love her. Let's put her up for adoption. And he was not mentioned in any of the articles. He's not been charged with anything. I don't even believe, according to the articles, that he was even around when this was happening. And that's it. Thank you.